comes to concrete, is floor finishes a thing of the past and it's all about trowel and we need to stop at the smooth wall and now have textured wall? I was having a conversation with a couple people about this and the answers were pretty interesting. Anyways, if you're new here, my name is Cavell. Welcome to my channel. If you're returning, you know the flex, you know the vibe. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the two different types of concrete finishes. We're going to be talking about the trowel finish as well as the float finish, right? It's no surprise that if I'm going to be talking about concrete finishes, I'm going to be talking about trowel on painting. I'm going to be talking about the cost associated with doing trowel on painting as well as the cost associated with just float finish where it's smooth. Please know I'm not an expert. I am just a woman that has a really good mason who is very patient and answer all of my questions, even if my questions seem to be a silly question. Anytime he answers my original question, I'ma forget him, don't have a problem for repeat himself. And then people that me like when it comes to building a house. For the sake of this conversation, I'm gonna be defining a few terms that you're going to continuously hear me say over the course of the video so that we're all on the same page. We need to talk about what is a concrete finish. Concrete finish is a process by which one smooth or levels pour concrete using a variety of different tools, right? So the two type of finishes that you can have is the float finish as well as the second type of finish is a trowel. The purpose of finishing a concrete is to set that concrete properly so that you can reap the benefits of the structure being more durable, it is more resistant to water and more resistant to fire, and it becomes more low maintenance. Now let's talk about the two different types of finishes in more detail. First one we're going to talk about on the list is a trowel finish. So a trowel finish is essentially using the tool or trowel to create a more textured or rough surface. This is actually one of the most common finishes in the world and has really existed for centuries now. It just seems like Jamaica may have just caught on and now is considering this is the thing. Usually the material involved is stucco. Don't quote me on this one. I believe stucco is made of sand, cement, lime, and water. All right. So when it comes to a float finish, a float is used to achieve a smooth surface look for the concrete. The tool associated is the float. The float is that 2x4 that you normally see the masons use, that sometimes they create that steel handle to maneuver the float a lot better in order to level out the concrete. Now, I want you to understand that both type of finishes can use for exterior or interior, your ceiling, and so forth. If you're someone who prefers a more textured kind of finish, then go with trowel. If you're someone who likes that smooth finish, then go with just the regular float finish. Whatever floats your boat. You see what I did there? So back to the original question of whether or not a float finish or that smooth finish is a thing of the past, and now everybody's supposed to do trowel because that is what's in style. I think a lot of people that are entering the chat on this conversation do not realize that trowel is not something that is new. My grandfather wall was trowel on, and that was 20 something years ago, and I'm in my 30s. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. So smoking, I joke me make. So know that we've normed on the definition of the different types of finishes as well as what concrete finishes are. We're now going to move into the discussion that I was having a couple of days ago. So I have a wall that is 450 square feet and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the wall. No, I say, I wonder how much it's going to cost me currently to smooth the wall. The person say, why you want to smooth the wall? Why you don't trowel on the wall? So I say, but that's not something that I like. I personally prefer the look or the appearance of a smooth wall versus a textured wall. People, I would tell myself to say that. Yes, by the end of the conversation, I was not a person when I have no style. I was not a person where in a long time things and that now wear. I was not a person where I know good things. Okay, Miss Mama. Like what? How is it that my preference in having a smooth wall equates to me none taste, more old fashioned, and all these things. And I'm like, yo, first of all, do I have Trowel on money? How would that compare to just having a smooth one? One thing about a girl, if you know, you know, she loved doing her maths. So I said, let's do some maths. And what better way to do this than to invite YouTube into the maths thing what we do. I'm not going to just take somebody's word for it and just do that because somebody said that is no the thing we're supposed to do. I'm telling already in my mistake videos that you can fall into the trap of this aesthetics, you know. I'm gonna depend that. So if you're new here, I built an addition to my current house in Jamaica and it is a rental property. People, just give me a second. I'm gonna get ready for that part of the video. I have my book. I'm gonna write down the quotes and stuff, and I need my glasses to ensure that the numbers that I calculated are written down based off of what the masons told me. And when we call the hardwares and stuff, that those prices are, I'm giving you the accurate prices that I got. So what we're going to focus on in this part of the video is the process of doing trowel on painting. In order to do the trowel on painting, you must have a concrete finish. You cannot just have the cinder block a show. You have to have some type of concrete finishes. So I believe depending on the masons that you choose, they can tell you whether or not you need to have a smooth finish or a textured finish in order to do the trowel on. First question that came to mind for me is, what is the cost of the actual trowel on paint? Cost associated with the actual paint is going to be dependent on whether or not you're going to your local hardware, whether or not you're choosing to go to the factory. And then when you choose to go to the factory, are you going with Sherwin-Williams? Are you doing with Berger? Like, whose paint are you using? It is going to be cheaper if you go to Berger or you go to Sherwin-Williams as opposed to going to your hardware. So the price of the trowel on paint can range from anywhere from 12,000 Jamaican dollars to 18,000 Jamaican dollars. And this cost is for 5 gallons of the trowel on paint. So the next question that I had was, what is the cost for someone to do the trowel on painting? The man them or the woman them, they actually like to price by the bucket of paint. So for every 5 gallon of paint, you're going to expect that someone is going to charge 6,000 Jamaican dollars to do it. But they also do it by square feet, where it's about $60 to $90 per square feet. All right. Now, these prices vary based on who you're using, of course. I say this all the time, the relationship you have with those people, as well as your location. So the next question I had was, what is the area 5 gallon of trowel on paint can cover? The two people that we talked to about like how much this 5 gallon realistically covered gave us ranges. I also was curious, so I went on the internet myself, and Berger actually has some pretty good information on how much 5 gallon of trowel on paint can cover. So I really appreciated that. So 5 gallon of trowel on paint can cover 90 to 120 square feet, depending on the grade of trowel on paint. The paint comes in fine all the way to rough texture. Now, the finer the texture of trowel on paint is the more surface it can cover, given that the man them or the woman them don't waste the material. So with those things in mind, I said, let's do the math for my wall that is 450 square feet. If I'm gonna do it, I want the texture to be noticeable. I know, weird, right? For someone who prefer a smooth texture. Therefore, I'm going to assume that 5 gallon is going to cover the 90 square feet range. So if it's 450 and we're going with 90 square feet being the amount that the 5 gallon of paint can cover, we know 45 divided by 9 is 5. So therefore, to carry out the job, I'm going to need 5 buckets of 5 gallon paints. And no, I'm not buying an extra. So now we're going to think about cost. I told you all the range already. For the sake of this video, we're going to use like the middle of the range And we're going to go with the 14,000 because I know I'm gonna leak my head to buy something for $18,000. Because I know myself, I'm gonna leak my head to buy something for $18,000. So we're gonna multiply the 5 buckets of 5 gallon paint by $14,000. So we know that's gonna be $70,000 for the paint alone. So I'm gonna write that down now, right? So the $70,000 for the paint alone. Let's talk about the labor cost to do this. We said the man them a charge $6,000 for every 5 gallon, and we know we have 5 of those buckets times the 6,000. What at $30,000. So now we're gonna write down $30,000 for labor costs. All right. So we're gone 100,000 already. My sweat. Talking about the price for these things, my already a sweat. So remember when I told you, in order to do this, the wall must have some type of finish. So we're gonna go with the most basic finish. Okay? See my left out now, let me know. So let's talk about the rough cast and granite now. This one is done by the square yard. So me have to divide by 9. So the price for rough cast and granite is about $500 to $800 per square yard. Again, this is not law. This is just the man them what me I use. So you can't say it's too expensive, it's too cheap, whatever. mega go to minimum right now and say them have a good art. And them sister means that try and get a youth and them want bust the youth. I go to the minimum and say the 500 Jamaican dollars per square yard. So if it's 450 square feet and we need to get it to square yard, we're just going to divide 45 by 9, which is 5, and then place 0. So that's 50. So that's 50 square yards now, right? So that's 50 square yards. Got it. So 50 square yard. And then we're going to multiply that, the 50 square yard, by the 500. So that is now $25,000. The $25,000, we are going to add it to our initial $100,000 for the Trowel on paint and the labor cost to do the Trowel on paint. So that is now $125,000. What I never explained to you is that whatever I do to the part of the wall that's on the inside, make it do it to the part of the wall that is outside. So you see the 125 where we have right here, so we have to multiply that by 2. Right now, my head hurt me. So that is essentially $250,000. Now, in order to do rough cast and garnet, you need the materials. I don't know the calculation for this one, and I don't feel like working it out right now, so just bear with me. So the mason told me in order to rough cast and garnet my wall, I'm gonna need about 4 yards of wash sand. I believe it's wash sand. That's about $4,000 right now in a Portmore, right? And so 4 times 4, 16, so $16,000. Again, the mason said so far when he gives me estimate, he has not been wrong so far, so I gotta trust him. All right. So I'm gonna need about 15 bags to do the front and the back part of the wall. So 1 bag of cement is about 1,400. So 1,400 times 15, what at $21,000. Now I'm gonna go up on my calculator and add up everything and come back. Okay. So that's basically now $287,000. So if my math is incorrect, please go ahead and put it in the comments and tell me what you get. But so far, for the both sides of the wall, it's going to cost $287,000. Now, let's consider we're not going to do the Trowel on paint, just going to do the regular granite. As a matter of fact, I asked him if there was a way, if I was interested, if there was a way when he's doing the rendering to make it textured. And he said, of course, we can do that. So that may I work with, right? It's not floats all the way and it's not Trowel all the way. It's just a little texture. I'm using the mic like this because I want to see when it's about to die. So we're gonna go with my invented method of the Trowel on, and We're gonna need the same amount of sand, so that 4 yard of sand is going to be $16,000. The 15 bag of cement, as we know, is going to be $21,000 plus the $50,000 for labor costs, because we're doing both sides of the walls for both of those things, right? So it's gonna be $87,000. Now we're going to need to paint the wall. 1 gallon of paint is going to cover about 350 to 450 square feet, and so we are going to $3,000 paint, and gonna use 8 gallons of paint. So when you add the $87,000 and $24,000, that is $111,000. So $111,000 compared to $287,000. Oh my, what? I'm gonna definitely go with the cheaper option, and because I'm gonna be saving $176,000. Now, I hear the arguments put forward that doing a trowel on is better because it's gonna be durable in the long run. Don't you have to touch it up as well? But how often do you have to touch it up? What is the process to do the touch up of the trowel on? Like, I'm very curious to know that, because like, do you paint regular paint? Like, do you put regular paint over it? I can't imagine doing that, because like the regular paint is now gonna be in the crevices because it's textured, and like what happens to it over time. So honestly, final thoughts, I still think it boils down to your preference in terms of what look you're going for. And yes, I can understand where people might say doing trowel on is more durable, because if we think about the actual reason why we do wall finishes in the first place, is that the concrete can set properly, right? And it becomes more durable. So basically doing trowel on is like adding durability on top of durability, right? I hope you find the information in this useful, and if you did, go ahead and do your research as well to ensure that you have a full grasp on the whole thing, as well as don't forget to like, share, comment, and big up on yourself all the time. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.